Who is Jojo3000? How much money did they lure? And why are they so infamous in the Runescape community? I hope to answer all of those questions and more with this video. I'm the Runescape historian, welcome back to the channel. Let's get right into it. Context is extremely important so that everyone understands this lure. Most of you guys probably already understand the lure, but I'm going to use my character to explain it real quick. So what Jojo would do is he would sweet talk this wealthy person into coming to the Jolly Boar Inn, and there used to not be this wilderness ditch right here. He would have a generous stack of coins, 20 mil is just what I'm using for the example, and he would show it to them in a trade. So what he would then do is drop his own 20 mil at his feet, which wouldn't appear, as we know, for another, minute I think it is, to other players. That would give him time to run across into level 2 wilderness and high alchemy the rune med helm you see there, and drop the 10 or 11k because they both look the same on the ground. And then he would run back, pick up his 20 mil, and the person who was getting lured would then think, hey, there's 20 mil on the ground over there, let me go run and get it. Little did they know there would be attackers waiting for them. So now that we all understand the lure, we can explain the two parts to the lure. First was the talker. This was mainly Jojo's role, although in his last video and when he started doing solo lures, he would play both the talker and the attacker, using 2 accounts. It was the talker's job to lure the player from Varrock, for example, and try to convince them to come all the way to, in this case, Jolly Boar Inn right near the wilderness. Then, through convincing and the example we provided earlier, they would drop 11k in level 2 wilderness, run back, pick up their own coin stack, and sit there and just smooth talk the lured victim until they ran out into level 2 wilderness and attempted to pick up the 11k, which they thought was, an upwards of 20 mil or more. And that brings us to the attacker role. The attacker role would typically sit in level 2 to 3 wilderness, just out of sight of the victim, and right when they got on the coin stack, they would pounce on them. They would freeze and or teleblock if there was multiple PKers, and then they would rush in quickly and overwhelm the victim with DDS specs. Also, I feel the need to explain because some of my viewers are from old school and they're relatively new players. Back around this time, the items kept on death was based on the high alchemy price, and rares such as Santa hats, masks, and party hats only had a high out price of a few GP, meaning virtually anything would get protected over them, which is why this lure was so successful as well. It's been speculated that Jojo3000 started luring as early as 2004 or 2005. In his own words, he did say he started luring in RS2 very early. He would start out his legendary luring career by doing simple lures such as the Zamorak wine lure. This is also where he would meet his mentor that taught him the art of luring. His mentor was known as D-Moneys-Me-1. This early love and adoption of luring would actually make it to where Jojo3000 did nothing else but lure, according to his own words.
Please note, when I played RuneScape, I only lured. I did nothing else. I do not PK, stake, merchant, skill, or anything of the sort. I am a true lurer, and that was all I did. That is the only reason why I was so successful. I truly loved luring, and I'm sad to see it go.
Oh, and for more context, this is what a Zamorak wine lure looks like. As you can probably imagine, lures such as this did not net the biggest profits because people that are weak enough to be killed by level 17 and 22 Monk of Zamorak probably are not the wealthiest players. Yet, this probably gave Jojo3000 his early talking and luring experience. It's also during this time that Jojo networked and found some of his best luring partners. Eventually his luring would evolve into what's known as the Jojo lure, which he may not have been the very first player to do it, but he was definitely the player that popularized this type of lure. Hence why this type of lure in the luring community actually became known as the Jojo lure. Jojo3000 was an absolute master at getting people to trust him after only knowing him for 5 minutes or less in most cases. This would allow him to lure anyone from level 3 all the way up to max combat, level 126 at the time, which is still the max combat on old school RuneScape, but it is no longer the max combat on RuneScape 3. Jojo's luring style was so incredibly effective and he was so good at it that he ended up luring a few dozen party hats. In total, he got 5 purples, 5 yellows, 3 greens, 4 reds, 3 whites, 4 blues, and 3 Christmas crackers. These were the final tallies in December of 2007 when they removed PKing from the wilderness. He also lost track of how many masks, Santas, 20 mil plus amounts, pumpkins, Easter eggs, and other holiday items that he lured. He estimates this to be around 60 to 70. When you build a legacy and reputation off something as controversial as luring, you're going to be infamous. I believe the following clip illustrates perfectly why Jojo3000 was infamous. So if you couldn't tell, that was from the perspective of someone who went through a Jojo lure. So basically he spent months and months woodcutting, he spent even longer upgrading rares, trading rares, maybe merchanting, finally getting that green party hat, and then shortly after having it taken away. It's relatively hard to get an exact number as far as how much money Jojo earned off of his lures because you have things like splitting with his teammates and, price variations. But I did find this Tippet article by a guy by the name of Duke Freedom who compiled a graph of party hat and cracker prices from 2004 to 2006. I'm just going to take the numbers from, it looks like March 1st, 2006, and use that as kind of our guide for this. So real quick, it looks like he made 335 mil off of the purples, 375 mil off the yellows, 255 mil off the greens, 420 mil off the reds, 390 mil off the whites, 760 mil off of the blue party hats, and 450 mil off of the Christmas crackers. So the total is right under 3 billion GP, or 2,985 mil. It's also important here to note this is not including the 60 to 70 estimated other holiday rares that he lured, as well as multiple big cash stacks and other large value items such as Abyssal Whips. And just for some additional fun, let's see about how much this would be in today's RS3 market. And bam, these are relatively close modern day prices, at least the ones that I pulled from around November 26th or so. Of course, these are never going to be accurate, so this might as well be the equivalent of napkin math, but it's still fun to see. So it totals out to right under 2.3 trillion. And because I'm a bit of a nerd, I wanted to know how much 2.3 trill modern day RS3 gold would cost. I don't condone this whatsoever, just curious on the matter. So real quick, using a website that I will not name here, it looks like 1 bill is equal to $39.22. As most of us know, 1,000 bill equals 1 trill, so you take 39.22 times 1,000, meaning 1 trillion is worth $39,220, Jesus. Therefore, 2.3 trillion is worth 90,206 USD currently. While these numbers are impressive, Jojo himself stated he only offloaded about $1,200 back in the day before being banned on the backside of 2007. He also claims he had a multitude of other accounts totaling in at a GP value of 4 bill, but they were all banned in connection with the Jojo account. Contrary to popular belief, he would be permanently banned across all of his accounts not due to luring, but due to the real-world trading aspect. He also states that if he could take back the luring, he would, as it caused his victims to feel really terrible. So on the backside of 2007, with all of his accounts being banned, as well as being unable to attack other players in the wilderness due to the Wilderness and Free Trade update in 2007, December 10th, and later in 2009 with him expressing regret and remorse for things he did with the luring. That's the end of the story of Jojo. Or is it? The wilderness would be revived, so to speak, in 2011, with many of the fans and copycats of Jojo3000 emerging again, with many of these copycats seeming very amateurish by comparison. The most interesting development to me though was in 2011, alongside these copycats and fan-made Jojo lure videos, was a clan. This clan was led by a player named Uzot, and also claimed to have Jojo3000 leading the clan on lures under the name of Jenny925. The clan itself was even called Jojo3000. What also strikes me as odd is the video description of this little clan montage of them walking along the wilderness ditch right here. It says Jojo3000 has returned, as well as IPH34RR number 1 and Jenny925. So if you watch who they're actually following on this, it's Jenny925, which they kind of allude is Jojo3000. The reason this person, or possibly Jojo, chose Jenny925 is because one of his talking accounts was actually Jenny325. Most of the accounts in the following list right here, or the one that's on the screen rather, have been banned in association with Jojo3000, which I guess could explain the return on a different account with a different name. Also, you'll notice some of the names in the clan chat, such as the IPH34R number 1 has an additional R rather than the original name that only had one R. Maybe these are actually the people, but it has not been confirmed one way or another. Due to the 2009 name change update, even if some people emerged with Jojo3000, Jenny325, or any of those names, due to the 2009 name change update and the subsequent name releases of banned accounts, it might not even be them still. Another thing that caught my eye during the couple dozen hours I spent researching this video was the clan leader name, Uzot. That name was familiar to me for some reason, and I had to delve back through all the Jojo clips that I had, and there's a reason why it was familiar. So it turns out Uzot was actually a killer for Jojo3000 during his luring days. This gives a little bit more credibility towards some of the original members of the Jojo lure, including Jojo3000 himself being part of that clan in 2011, but it hasn't been confirmed or denied either way. From just surface level information I could find on this clan, it would turn out they were pretty successful luring their fair share of rares. This just goes to show you how powerful Jojo3000's legacy truly is. Through trawling through RS3 clan recruitment forums, I did find out that this clan dissolved at some point before February 3rd, 2021, as you can see here. For every successful Jojo lurer though, there's about 10 unsuccessful ones, such as the one shown here when they tried to lure a friend using similar methods. Whatever your views are on Jojo3000 and luring as a whole, you have to admit Jojo's legacy is still carried on today, despite lures being much more complex. But honestly guys, that's about all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching this far. This is the RuneScape Historian checking out. Peace.